Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go? All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today on Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. Today, we are with Steve LeVine, Las Vegas. Is that correct?
I'm in Arizona.
You're in Arizona, SLE Entertainment. And tell us a little bit about you and your agency.
Please remain on the line to answer.
Sorry about that. So we have a full service entertainment agency, specialized in talent booking, entertainment creation, production. We run the gamut, full service production, and then also promoting as well. So we have a marketing and PR arm, and we not only can produce the event, but we can help fill your event as well as our own.
Very good. Very good. Steve, where'd you grow up? What's your background?
I grew up in Los Angeles, and I started, 13 years old. I got a little bit of money and bought my first DJ gear. I was also playing the drums, so I love music.
Okay.
And from there, started a DJ company at 15 years old and moved to Arizona, went to ASU and played some drums and also kept going with my DJ career. At 19, I had 9 DJs working for me and knew that this was really where I belonged. And eventually I traded the headphones in for and the crates of records for producing and promoting my own shows, and work all over the West Coast and do a lot in Vegas. That's probably where the Vegas came from. And now we find ourselves doing stuff in Miami and Texas, and of course our home here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We love Arizona, and it's just a great place to be. So
my first question for you, Steve, is: do you golf?
I have a really nice set of golf clubs. That matters, but I'm not the best golfer, but I wish I was a better golfer, and I wish I had time. Plus, I need energy. I need music. I need lots of live. So if you're going to take me to the golf course, let's make sure there's, a party on each hole.
It's a public course.
But it's funny because right back here, that's you can't see it right now, but that's hole 16 of the Phoenix Open. Right here.
Wow. Yeah.
Is right here. So, in season, a couple months back, we got a big party right down the street, and
for sure
be in this area and around golf. So
when we go to Arizona, it is to golf. So that's why I ask. So what was the switch for you that went from DJing and playing drums to getting on the promotion side and started to book shows as an agency?
Well, as I was playing and had DJs all over when I was doing my own events, and I had some partners at the time. It was really, it was a big cash business back then. It was really hard to maintain what's going on everywhere else besides the DJ booth. I got the control here, but I really didn't see what was happening elsewhere. And eventually it was, I need to be out in the public. I need to be shaking hands. I'm creating and producing and coming up with entertainment and decor and production. And I just couldn't do it from behind the DJ booth. And I was dabbling a little bit in both. And I just started really loving the promotions game and full production, and still booking the talent, still sometimes being the talent. And, eventually kind of just weaned off the talent and more into producing large scale events. And it was a pretty easy decision when I realized I can, make a full living. And in 2007, I had broken off and started this company, SLE. And, it was, again, everything as far as producing and booking entertainment and a lot of A-list entertainers. And then my wife left as she was working with the NBA with a sports team. And in 2011, she, became a hot prospect in town. And I said, if you're going to go anywhere, you got to come here. So that really helped drive our public relations side of things, because she's a PR pro. And then we kind of combined together, and now we're everything from PR marketing all the way to full event production, and of course talent booking still, which I love to this day and I'll never trade in.
Yeah. So, it sounds like you just found a different way as an artist to be creative. It sounds like you just found in almost to a global element of stuff instead of just one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always reinventing yourself. It's always, there's no such thing as a new idea, just new applications to old ideas. And we've been running these, it's even right now, it's like the roaring 20s, right? Here we are 100 years later going after the same roaring 20s that, our grandparents and great grandparents got to live, and then through prohibition and all that. So here we are getting to restart, and we had that COVID, smash, which we all got smashed. We all went through the same storm in different boats, and the entertainment industry got smashed, as you know, Jake.
Sure.
And it's just so nice to be able to do what I love every day. And it's still a lot of hard work. Everyone's saying, "Oh, you got such a great job. It's so fun. It's so easy." It is great. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
we love it. We love it.
Very good. Very good. Let's talk real briefly about the time of COVID. How quickly were you able to pivot? I know that in general, you had to shut down a lot of your operations. So I want to know two things. What happened to your staff, number one, and then how quickly were you able to pivot and start evolving some of your operations to stay functional during that time?
Yeah, so we went down in March of 2020. We had our festival, one of our festivals, Family Festival, pre-sold, 20,000 plus tickets. We had a 7-figure loss because we couldn't open our doors. It was literally an hour before doors were supposed to open, and we shut it down. Got shut down in March of 2020. Immediately, we started talking to all the vendors and hoping that people would just not take a profit, in hopes that we could repeat the event in a month or two. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Sure.
We then got with our AV and tech vendors and decided let's go right into a drive-in, because immediately I started just going back to my comfort level with my kids. We're watching old movies. I remember seeing Back to the Future, Karate Kid. I'm like, you know what? Let's take this and start doing drive-ins. We immediately popped open some drive-ins, sold them out immediately. And then, I never thought I've had like the parking sticks and I'm parking cars, like backing in to lower your trunk, please sit in your car. The rules and the regulations for watching a drive-in movie.
Sure.
And the kids are like, what is this drive-in thing where you turn on your radio and you listen to, so it was kind of fun because it was different. My team was very emotional. We had just about 40 people working for the company, a lot of independent contractors on top of that, a lot of bands, DJs, such, and everybody just came to a halt. We immediately dropped down to 11 people. We call that the COVID response team. And we just stayed really active trying to manage that. That 11 people came 7 people. And from that 7 people, we pretty much stayed right alive at 7, including my wife and I. And, not taking a paycheck for 9 months was humbling. And, I joked yesterday to somebody that it was all top ramen and TV dinners, but I don't even know if TV dinners still exist.
Right.
But we were blessed. We have a good family and friends, and everyone was there with us and supported us. And, without even asking, picked up dinners, dropped off food, and we weren't in any type of situation where we couldn't live. But just the people that had reached out, it was amazing. We hired everybody back when we finally, the entertainment industry didn't get any funding right at the beginning, and especially in Arizona, we weren't carved in yet to the EIDLs and all that kind of stuff. And we finally were able to bring some people back. Unfortunately, we planned for everything to rehappen and it didn't. So we let everybody go, and there's nothing like firing somebody for a second time.
Yeah.
Talk about making enemies. And again, real emotions come through all that. And, it was a last summer where we finally started bringing people back. And then in the fall, I would say summertime of 2021, we finally got to start bringing some people back towards the end of summer. We really got to hire a few. We're now at 15 people, and we got some ads running. We're probably looking for another 4 or 5. And it's crazy what we did with 7 people. It's crazy what we did with 11 people. It's crazy how much my team right now is doing as a 15-person team. We're blessed. We have some of the best in the business. I say, not to disrespect anybody that worked with us, because we love them all, and some of them still make it back. But the team we have is just as best a team I've ever worked with, and I'm so blessed that they're all here.
That's awesome. How quickly were you able to pivot from your existing structure to the drive-in concert?
Well, we pivoted quick. I would say that once we got approval, that we tried to start like an Easter service. That was like one of the things. I'm my, you know, it's not. I'm not celebratory when it comes to those holidays, but I realized there was a need for it, and you know, I'm Jewish, my wife's Catholic, so we tried to come up with anything and everything that made sense, and we couldn't get approval for that. So then we immediately, like, what was May? So it was March. By May 15th, we had started. So it was about 2 months of
Sure.
downtime, but we still worked around the clock because we were
Yeah,
trying to, you know, to do anything. We then did a lot of virtual events. We had everything from David Spade to Shaq to John Legend. I mean, and I said it's a third of the fees for everything, us included, a third of the work, not nearly as fun. Definitely was kind of cool that I could do it all from my house, you know,
yeah,
and from the office. But it wasn't the same. We're a hands-on group. Entertainers, like we got to touch, feel, and be part of the action and feel the music. Although lucky for us, we could pull off some virtual. New Year's Eve, we did like 5 or 6 events on the same New Year's. I remember we had Snoop at 3 different Snoop Dogg did 3 different virtual events the same night on New Year's. So one pre, you know, some right from his house, others were pre performed and recorded, and you know, it's kind of cool to just be involved in a lot of great things. And then you know, I didn't know what would happen. Would virtual stay? And I'd say our virtual, you know, it's more like virtual is a part of the live event now, but we are less, maybe speakers here and there, but as far as like the big entertainment and the big, you know, it's a lot less likely for us to stick with virtual unless that's just an add-on. So yeah, the pivot was pretty quick. You know, I still find us pivoting. I still find us coming up
yeah.
with creative ways to do stuff. We're never going to go back to where we were, and we're also trying to divest in many different entertainment options so that we can never be put back in the situation where we were.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Steve, what do you think it is inside of you that allowed and initiated that such a quick pivot? Because we've talked to other agencies who just completely shut down and threw in the towel, maybe for good, or maybe they just said, oh, we're done for a year, maybe 2 until this comes back. What is it that's inside of you that said, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna pivot, we're gonna make this happen?
You know, I'm in a group called the Entrepreneurs Organization, and it's non-competing businesses. We're like in small forums, and we're non-competing businesses that kind of have like our board of directors, because it's my wife and I, and like we said, 5 others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you that the team that we had here, the you know, 2 individuals without a doubt, our vice president Ryan, and another now vice president Sean, my wife, myself, and a few others. The team that we had was just such a backbone to us, and they worked. They saw how hard we worked. They worked. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into every single day. What are we going to do to stay alive? You know, offering to go get other jobs, and you know, even like a Walmart job. And I'm like, no, we have to stick this out, and we're going to fight. And I took no pay. My wife took no pay, hoping that that would change. We have a drive where failure is not an option. As silly as that comment sounds, it's not an option. We're not going to fail. And you know, and I kept reinventing. You know, what's SLE 2.0 look like? What's SLE 3.0? You know, what are we going to do to fight this problem and that problem? And I think we just stuck together. We kept a lot of highs, a lot of lows. That's for sure. It's like, are we going to get some funding? Are we getting this event? Are we going to, you know, because you couldn't really, the plan and see wasn't working, because if you plan and see, it's all these, you know, wheels are turning and so much is happening and we're just losing money and there's no income coming in. So it was, all right, let's not plan anymore. Let's just attack things at a 2 to 3 week interval. What can we do in the next few weeks? And we started like locking up sites where we can do drive-in graduations, drive-in drive-through parties, drive-in luncheons, and we just got creative. And although that wasn't ideal, people popping open their tailgates and sitting in the back of their cars, it's what we had to do. Yeah. And I think people saw that. And then we started working with companies that we hadn't worked with before, and some cities started calling us and saying, you know, we do so many things regionally and out of state, and that was always the thing through, years and years of work, but we didn't really own our nest. Our nest is right here in Scottsdale and surrounding cities. And we really just amplified that as what can we do with this city and that city, and, turn stuff into virtual, and do, Halloweens that were drive-ins or drive-throughs, and take all that same decor that we have in our warehouse and really build something different. And I think people saw our work ethic and that we were not sitting here. Meanwhile, companies are closing. Everyone's going into the mortgage business and real estate. And I'm like, we're going to fight this through. And if you want to be part of the ride, let's go. And it's really how we did it.
So just all from the belief system of we are not going to fail. I mean, that was your belief from the beginning. Yep. Yeah, we were just talking today about that whole cycle of belief and feelings and actions and results, and how it just feeds, and it really just starts with that inner belief. That's fantastic. Let's talk real quick about your entrepreneurial circle organization that you have. Is that something local there to you guys in Arizona?
No, so EO is a worldwide organization. I believe it's about 16,000 entrepreneurs now, and it's in like 60 some odd countries. But the Phoenix, Arizona chapter is super strong. It's incredible. It's such a life support. We're not there to fix each other's problems. We're there to use best practices and experience shares that, every one of us as business owners have gone through different things, whether it's hiring, firing, operations, sales, marketing, any of the things that we all have as basis for business. And, it was Friday check-ins. It was, and I, of course, being in the entertainment industry, we took it hard.
Yeah.
And it was, you have real estate guys talking about the 2008, crisis, and, all the way through 2011. Well, we didn't feel that.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go?
Which is 10 years ago.
Sure.
So, 10, 12 years ago. So, but we just weren't in that planning stage where right now we're a year out. We're planning Super Bowl. We're planning events for 2023 now. You couldn't do that it's like, where are we going to be 30 days from now? And what's that, 6 months out is like, what is this going to look like?
Right.
And then if you got 3 months later, it was like, okay, we're still in this crap storm. What are we going to do? And I was able to start an industry group through in the entrepreneurs organization, where I had a guy from Puerto Rico, a guy from New Zealand, and New Zealand didn't get hit hard. They're already doing festivals and things.
Right.
In 2020, summer of 2020, I'm like, how are they doing this? New Zealand didn't get hit till much later.
Yeah.
So their experience sharing, and I'm like, this is great. So I take these things, we'd share with the city, we'd share with state officials, and it was pretty amazing to be able to have the network that we had. And even yesterday, I was on a call with somebody. We actually have our global leadership conference coming up in DC this weekend, and we're all going to get together and just chat. I mean, how's Puerto Rico? How's, not everyone's going to be there, but there's enough in our industry, whether it's caterers to production, to marketing promotions, to entertainment, agencies like ourselves. And, it's just the power of many is far greater than one of us. Right. So,
yeah, no, that's spectacular. So in the midst of COVID, I was fortunate enough to, listening, you mentioned the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl, the first year the Chiefs made it with Patrick Mahomes, of 2020, I think. And I heard this guy in an interview by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk, and I didn't know, I had never heard this guy before, but he used this phrase over and over, that he loves to lose. And he kept saying that, and they were talking to him about the Planters peanut commercial and how they had to pull it because of the Kobe Bryant death, and how his agency and Planters lost so much money because they pulled that commercial, but so much good came from him. And then of course COVID hit, and I started listening to every podcast in the world, and I learned, and now I understand NFTs, and it's changed my career as a musician, when so many other people are looking at it and saying, what's this stuff? And so the fact that you have an organization and a group that you can pull ideas from. And I love the non-competing, because we all hate to you're never stealing from someone. You're learning from them, and then you're making it your own kind of deal in the music world. And I'm sure in the entrepreneurial world, it's very similar in the same way. And so you can take something that a caterer is doing, like in New Zealand, and you can apply it to an upcoming function that you have in the US in Vegas or Arizona. So my ears just perked up right away when you said you were part of an organization. I'm like, whoa, I've never even heard of this before, so a lot of that just stems back from the fact that you have this pool of people who have and share the same drive as you do. They may not be in the same profession, but they have that never say die attitude. And here, just talking, hearing you talk about New Zealand was a year ahead, and now they're a year behind, and so they're learning from you now. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Gary actually did a few events for us, and he actually did our global conference a year ago. And, he did a few events that I brought him in for. He's a legend. I mean, there's no doubt. And I'll tell you, my biggest learning from Gary, besides NFTs, because he is all about the NFTs, like you said, is, as I'm starting to bring people back, I'm listening to Gary, and he's like, this is the number one thing you got to do. And I mean, he literally made it up on the spot. And I know he made it up on the spot because when he was done, he made a comment, which I'll share. So he says, it's time to hire quick, like hire real quick. And then it's time to fire quicker.
Yeah.
But remember that you have to promote quickest.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, that is phenomenal, because I'm not hiring quick enough. I definitely don't fire quick enough.
Right.
And the most important thing is to promote. Right. And then when we were done, he's like, that's so damn good that I got to make a t-shirt now.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I just made that up, and that's that's words to live by. So I'm still waiting for my t-shirt because he never sent those out. But and we all repeat it. Anybody that was on that call, 300 of us, I think, were on that call with him. And Gary has just done some amazing things, and we love when he comes to share his wisdom with us. And he's one of us, which is great.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's fantastic, remarkable. Well, listen, I don't want to take any more of your time. This kind of spun a different way than I expected to, but it's things that artists need to hear. It's things that the industry needs to hear, and it's things that the young musician, the young entrepreneur who wants to get into the music and the industry side of things needs to hear. And I love your attitude. I love your outlook on things. And Steve, I'm definitely going to be a fan, and looking forward to following you to see what's coming for you.
Awesome. Well, let me know if you ever need anything else or anything I could share with us. Upcoming artists. I was there myself, and I'm always here to pay back and to teach and continue to help people that are trying to get in the industry. So
that's fantastic. Thanks again, Steve. I appreciate having you on.
All right, thanks, Jake.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of